The Podcasting Dead is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Make sure to subscribe for more podcasts. And while you're at it, drop us a like. If you want to help support the channel and have access to extra content, secret contests, and more, make sure to search for us on Patreon. Patreon.com/thepodcastingdead.
All right, so we are a little late to the party, but better late than never. We're talking about The Walking Dead Deluxe Issue 6. I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're The Podcasting Dead. And I think this came out this past Wednesday, right?
Yes.
So we're not crazy late. It's not like we're jumping up a month later, but we're a few days behind. We are just adjusting to new schedules and things like that. And we appreciate everybody who follows the channel for bearing with us because we're just kind of getting our footing on how we're going to continue to do this in different ways, but it's coming together, and it's going to be okay because here we are now.
Yeah, dude, we're sticking together. We're taking all of y'all with us, whether you like it or not.
Sticking together, I agree with, but what I don't agree with is why you have to sit in my lap, though.
Well, look, the place has been kind of cold since you've been away. What can I say?
That
better be your pocket knife I'm feeling, pal.
Did I leave the thermostat locked again before I left?
You did, man.
Oh, but so this issue is actually the last issue with Tony Moore as the artist on it, and I'm gonna miss him, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited to see Charlie Adler's art with some color to it.
Dude, I'm so excited. Again, it is kind of sad, man, because Tony Moore killed it.
Oh yeah.
The Walking Dead might not have got past issue 1 if he hadn't have been there. Not that Charlie Adler couldn't have carried the first 6 issues, but all I'm saying is my hat's off to you, Tony.
Oh, absolutely, man. I feel like I said, I like both of their art for different reasons. Yeah. I feel like Charlie Adler's was a lot more gritty and kind of just went with that apocalyptic feel, but Tony Moore's was a lot more detailed and for some probably a little bit more cartoony than they would have preferred once they had seen Charlie Adler's. So, I love them both, and I think they both did amazing work. And so this is the final Tony Moore art before we switch to Charlie Adler's. But like I said, I'm super excited for it. But so this issue, we start out at Amy's funeral, which kind of reminded me of like Dale's funeral in the show.
Yeah, you're right. It did, yeah.
Because it's like we didn't have that with Amy. Amy in the show, and I didn't say it beforehand. Sorry. Spoilers, of course, for the comic and both for the show because we're going to be doing comparisons. But, in the show, you didn't really have any funeral. Like, they all kind of were standing behind Andrea like, yo, when you going to let me shoot her in the head?
Right.
And she had that whole thing with Rick. I know it. But, like, then so this kind of reminded me more of Dale's funeral in a way from the show than it did, but
yeah, dude. And plus it was like just a random tragedy. Nobody wasn't in some battle. There was no confrontation. Just zombies being zombies.
Zombies will be zombies.
Yes, they will. But
so then we see Shane and Rick hunting, and we know that we see like a side glance Rick gives Shane, kind of like, he doesn't say it, but he's thinking like, I told you this was going to happen.
Right.
I knew this was going to happen, but he doesn't say anything, and they go hunting, and of course Shane just, like Carl mentioned, something to the effect of, we don't have to have as much food now because Amy's dead and Jim's sick.
Yeah.
And, then that's when Shane kind of is like, it wasn't my mother effing fault, you mother effer son of a bee, and just launches into it. And Rick is not having it. And Rick's just like, bullshit. Yes, it is you. And they just are having at it. And then they basically, and I think right before that, Shane killed a rabbit. So then they go back and we see, because, in the show, who was in there with Jim? Was it was the woman that outed him, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Because was Carol in there with him?
Dude.
It's been so long. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure in the show it was, and what was her name? She died at the end of the first season. She just was not a character that you got to know very well before she died. She was, she's the one that stayed in there with Jenner. But anyways, I think
one of our commenters actually left that in the comments section not too long ago. I know you guys can never remember this number, so here's her name, but here we are not remembering her name.
Yeah. Yeah,
God rest her soul.
Yes. She had a short time on the show, and to be completely honest, I don't think she left that big of an impact. But she was there, and that's all that matters.
Yes.
But I know she was in there with Jim for a while, maybe Carol, but we see it's actually Donna that's in there with the.
Yeah, that's right.
And I don't like her at all.
I don't think anyone did.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know how her husband dealt with it because Alan was such a cool, like laid back, nice guy, and
Right.
Donna was just a judgmental biatch.
When what happened to her, man. If I was Alan, I would have been dancing in the streets. I would have been just getting man. I'd have been happy.
I mean, I know that she had a thing with Dale, but I'd have been like, yo, Andrea,
Right.
I know you like older men. Well, I'm older, but I ain't that old.
Yeah. Trade up, baby.
But yeah, so Donna's comforting Jim or whatnot, and then we have them basically they have a falling out, over the whole situation, and ends up Shane punches Rick, and then Lori like straight up saber-tooth claws him right in the face. She's like, "Don't you touch him!" And it's like, "What is wrong with you?" And Shane just can't have it, and he kind of just takes off into the woods. But in my mind, I imagine he's like, "Ah!" He's just running through the woods. But then Rick chases after him, and it's so cool. It's really cool showing how that, because they show like Lori talking to everybody, trying to comfort her, and you just see Carl slip off. Mm-hmm. And then, then we have they're in the woods and they just get into actually Rick runs up on Shane and Shane turns around and points the gun at him.
Yep.
And it's very tense. It's weird though, because the show Shane and Rick final confrontation doesn't really remind me much of this.
Nah, dude, it was way more, I guess they were both to an extent premeditated, but like Shane in the show, he really had it thought out, Whereas I think Shane in the comic was just like, yeah, we're going to go hunting. Something bad might happen, but,
Yeah. It was a little bit different. It was a little bit different, but nonetheless, it was still great. And then, of course, Carl, because in the show, Carl kills him after he turns, but in this, he puts him down. And then we end the episode with Carl telling Rick that it's not like killing the dead ones. And Rick's like, it never should be, son. It never should be.
Yeah.
And then Rick becomes one of the most efficient killers in the apocalypse.
Yeah, dude. And that's really a moment I think they should have kept in the show, man. Carl should have really killed Shane.
Yeah. I mean, and in the show, too, in my opinion, in the show, Shane and Carl were a lot tighter. It would have been a lot more impactful for him to have to have shot Shane, which, I mean, he shot him as a zombie, but I feel you too. I think that, Rick stabbing him was badass. The way they did it was so cool, but still, I just would have loved if Carl would have been the one that saved him.
If it was like the moment with Rick and the governor when Michonne, saved him in the last minute, that'd have been just as good.
Maybe Rick stabs him, but then Shane starts strangling him, isn't on top of him, and all of a sudden, bam!
Yeah.
Carl pops him, and he gets him with that neck shot, too.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, so that pretty much wraps up that issue, and I don't know, man. I've said it every podcast we do about the comic, but if you're not subscribed to this, man, you should be. It's so cool.
It's really good. Seeing it in color, seeing all the little Easter eggs in the back, the chopping room floor they call it. Little notes from Kirkman, when he was scripting everything out. It's definitely worth it.
Oh, absolutely. It shows you the Walking Dead world in a whole new light. Like, I never imagined Donna being a brunette. I just imagined she had gray hair.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, some really dope variant covers too, man. In an age where we get more variant covers than we need, they've really been killing it with a lot of these variant books.
It's a very true statement.
Yeah, I got one more to get, and I'll have the connecting.
Which
covers.
one do you got to get?
I think it's issue 2. I might be wrong.
Oh, that might be a little more affordable find than issue 1.
I hear issue 1, has got some heat behind it.
Oh yeah, man.
Another book you and I both have, Department of Truth #1. That's selling between $15 and $20.
Really?
Right out the gate, dude. There's already so much hype around that book becoming a show or a movie or whatever.
I got to catch up with the last issue. I'm caught up all but the very, very latest one, but that one's good. And we also had Gideon Falls wrapped up.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, like I do get it, but I kind of want to go back now and I think I'm gonna buy it when it comes out as a trade paperback, like the complete work, and I'm just gonna read it from front to back because Jeff Lemire is my favorite writer, but man, he's not as confused. I think Scott Snyder's writing, because of my simple brain, it confuses me and I end up lost. Jeff Lemire's doesn't lose me in the same way. It's just that, Jeff Lemire, you got to pay attention to it. And then when you're getting these issues a month apart, it just sometimes you kind of forget So I found myself towards the end of Gideon Falls. It was really good, but I'm still just kind of like, all right, so wait.
Yeah, man, and without spoiling anything, at the end I was just kind of like, why didn't anyone think of this in the first place?
Right.
But then again, I can't remember exactly the rules and what led up to it. So, but we definitely need to we should both reread the whole series and then do a giant retrospective.
I'd be down for that. That'd be a good idea.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's another option property, man. That's eventually going to be a show or a movie or something. So
I hope it definitely has the potential.
Floor. Yeah, that's one thing, man. Nobody will have our cred the whole way. We read it. Issue 1, day 1, as soon as it came out.
You told me about it, and then we both put down for it, and then we got it. And I mean, we're on it from doing. I mean, we've been. If you are a frequent listener to the podcast, you've probably heard us mention Gideon Falls like a year or two ago.
Yep.
So it's really cool that it's being optioned and might get turned into a show or a movie, man.
It's got to, man. It's got to.
But so that wraps up this podcast about issue 6. In another 2 weeks, we'll be back talking about issue 7, and we get to see Charlie Adler's art in color.
Yes, finally.
I feel like the theme song for these podcasts should be that Jamie Johnson song. You should have seen it in color.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting choice for a horror-based podcast, but I'm into it.
Albeit that song is a lot more sentimental and at one point talks about like soldiers in World War II and stuff, so it might not be the best way to redirect that song.
It could be cool, though. Make like a slideshow with Walking Dead images. It could be fun.
Oh, man. Oh, and I left out an important part. How could I forget?
What happened?
Jim, when they, got so focused on the Rick, because I think that's the big focus of this issue is Rick and Shane.
Yeah.
But we also have, and that played out almost just like the show,
Mm-hmm.
because Jim said this is what I want to do, and they left him, and he kind of had like a Lizzie from the show mindset of like, I'll come back,
right,
and then maybe I'll find my family.
Or maybe you'll just kill an innocent person. So, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and kill you.
I would have definitely positioned a sniper out in the bushes with him not aware, and the second he stood up, bam, because he might find his ass right back to camp, man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I can't imagine they took him that far away. They didn't show him loading him up or anything. I imagine it was walking distance from the camp. So, but yeah, goodbye, Jim.
Jim's revenge. Well, if he had led the stampede back to the camp.
If I was Robert Kirkman, that would be something cool he could do even now.
What?
Go back and write a little special called Jim's Adventure or Jim's Journey and show, like, from the moment they leave him sitting there at the tree and just show him, like, turn into a walker and then just kind of follow it. It'd be like a little short, but, like, and then eventually somebody shoots him in the head.
Dude, speaking of Walking Dead news, maybe this needs its own podcast, and this is just comic shop rumors. I haven't really looked into it, but there's going to be more Walking Dead comics based around certain characters after the last issue. Not way in the future, but just immediately, I think, after Rick's death.
Oh, well, if that happens, we will cover it.
I think Sadiq's going to get addressed. I think so. Yeah, and like I said, this was just something I heard in the comic shop. I don't know that there's any truth to it, but
I certainly hope it is.
Dude, yeah.
That would be fantastic.
Milking this cow, baby.
Absolutely. Well, Robert Kirkman said, like, even here's Negan. Like, no, sorry, Negan Lives. That, excuse me, that was actually really good. I mean, it wasn't quite what I was expecting, but with it said, he still can make these characters entertaining, and I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. The bad thing about Here's Negan is there wasn't anything more. It just leaves you wanting more that you're not going to get. That's what sucks.
Yeah.
But still, great issue.
I would love some more of that. But let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you have not got your hands on this, I'm pretty sure it won't be too long before they'll hopefully start coming out with like trade paperback volumes, probably just like they originally did, but with the colors.
Absolutely.
So you can save some money and some effort if you're not really concerned with collecting the issues and just grab those to get the story in color. But it's a great read. I enjoy it, and I look forward to issue 7.
Same here.
But in the meantime, if you are into The Walking Dead or podcasts in general, consider checking out our channel and hitting that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton. We podcast. Right now, Walking Dead is the main focus of our podcast, mainly just because we don't have quite the time we used to, and we're kind of working out the kinks on how to get like Weird Wednesdays back, things like that. But we do podcast about a lot more than The Walking Dead, so you can check out our channel and find some past podcasts, mainly on the YouTube. I think SoundCloud, Spotify, and iTunes keeps like the most recent 3 or 4.
Right.
But you can go to YouTube and go all the way back to day one and check out all of our podcasts. And if you like them a lot, consider joining our Patreon.
There you go.
But in the meantime, we'll see you soon for some Walking Dead What Ifs. I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead.